Hello there, welcome to my channel. In this video, we want to look at a control test from the Gauteng province. This is a September control test. So the question paper consists of 3 questions. So in terms of the instructions of the question paper, you have to answer all questions. So that is where it is important. Then we move on to the question part, whereby the first part of the question is on matching words. Of course, first one is saying indicator of development combining life expectancy, education, and GDP. And the correct answer that we have is HDI, which is C. The indicator of inequalities between men and women, according to responses that we've got gender inequality, G. Then we go to the next one, measures which restrict to look after the interests of a country, is protectionism, which we have F. The amount of money the average person in a country can expect to have is the Gini coefficient, which is D. And then the relationship between the price of a country sells its exports for and price it pays for its imports, we have terms of trade. Then the average number of years a person is expected to live is life expectancy, which is our I. The number of babies who die before the age of 1 is J, infant mortality rate. Goods which exit a country, we call them exports. So we have H. Then on the next part of our question, we have got 1.2, which we have to provide the terms of the list below. So we've got a list of terms that we have. The first one is saying the ability of a country to have access to its resources and to create economic wealth is economic development. So we have economic development. So this is our 1.2.1. And then the balance between the monetary value of a country's exports and imports is balance of trade. So 1.2.2. Then the next one, restrictions put on imported goods regarding its weight, volume, and amount, import quotas. So we have import quotas. Then the import of goods from other countries is restricted, is an embargo. Then the tax paid on imported items, we call them duties. The tax paid on imported items. We have tariffs that we can have tariffs as the correct response to that. 1.2.5. Then we have got direct aid from one country to another. We call it the most appropriate response that we have is bilateral trade. So this is 1.2.6. Then aid for individuals or countries in times of natural disasters or civil conflict is humanitarian aid. So that's what we have on that part. Then we move on to the next part, whereby we are now looking at 1.3. Start the table of data below illustrating development indicators for a selection of countries and answer the following questions. So this is the developmental indicators that we have. Then beneath that, we are given the question part, whereby it is define the concept of gross domestic product. So you'd see that the description of gross domestic product refers to the total value of all goods and services produced by the country in a particular year. So that is a gross domestic product. Then moving on to our 1.3.2. Which country from the table is the highest birth rate? So we have got a column for birth rate, but we have which is indicated as birth rate in this column. So we go down, we see that the one in the highest is 35.1, which is here, which is Kenya. So we have Kenya. Then we move on to the next one, which mention one national factor that contribute to the high birth rate in the country, like the one mentioned in question 1.3.2. What can cause high birth rate? We can have um, general increase in birth rate or general increase in sex can also lead to that. So that's what we have. So moving on to the next question. The next question is name two African countries from the table that is highest GDP per capita. So we go to the column for GDP per capita. So GDP per capita, we have it in this column. So we go down and check. Remember, the question is saying table is the highest GDP per capita. So two African countries. So we have South Africa, 10,300, and also we have got we'll check again. We have got Kenya. South Africa and Kenya are only the African countries that we are having. So we have South Africa and Kenya. Then we move on to the next question. Identify from the table 3 development indicators that are used to calculate HDI. So what are the 3 development indicators that are used to calculate HDI? So you see that we have GDP per capita, life expectancy, and the literacy rates. Then 1.3.6 list 3 factors that contribute to the higher life expectancy in the developed countries like Japan, Switzerland, or Australia. So access to better health facilities is the first one. Better food intake, or food or diet, hygiene or clean environment, regular exercise or training lifestyle, less crime rate. So these are the factors that we have. Then on 1.4, we are given balance of trade. So we've got an extract of balance of trade that we need to go through. So this is the case study that we have. So 1.4 is a case study. 1.4 depicts a balance of trade situation. Define the term of balance of trade. So the definition that we have of balance of trade is that balance of trade refers to the balance between a country's imports and exports. So this is the explanation that we have on balance of trade. The next question. South African Revenue Service depicts a positive balance of trade. Give evidence from case study 1.4 to validate the statement that the balance of trade is positive in South Africa. So we go to the information that we have and check in terms of the evidence. So one of them is that exports were up by 2%. And also the other points that you can include are that the exports are larger, more than imports, implying that less imports are okay. Exports up 2%, trade surplus okay. So these are correct responses that you can give. And moving on to the next part is saying provide 2 products which are exported by South Africa according to the case study. So you have to go to the case study and identify the products. So in terms of the products, we have precious metals and stones, base metals, chemicals, vegetable products. So this is what we have according to the case study. So with that, we We can move on to the next question, but we can get our answers from IE, precious metals and stones, base metals. We move on to the next question. Identify from the case study any two products of imports which we have identified. Protectionist policies restrict fair trade, explain how fair trade could help struggling countries to have a better balance of trade. So in terms of our 1.4.4, no restrictions on certain goods. Products will be exported at a fair price to other countries. More production of agreed products to the world market. That is 1.4.4. So moving on to 1.4.5. Discuss the importance of a positive balance of trade for South Africa. A positive balance of trade. A positive means we have got more exports than imports. So what is the importance of that? It will build strong international relationships. That is on our 1.4.5. Improved employment opportunities, better industrialization and import replacements. It will reduce poverty. Trade helps with capacity building. Infrastructure will be developed and upgraded. So these are some of the points that we can put on that part. Then we move on to the next question, which is now 1.5. Refer to the following figure, a cartoon and globalization, and answer the questions that follow. So we've got a cartoon that we have here. Then the first question is saying define the term globalization. So globalization, basically, we are having when a country is engaging in international trade, when it's interacting with other countries, it's engaging in globalization. So we are saying all the countries in the world living as one global community. It's a brief description that you can give in terms of globalization. According to the cartoon, each country developed or developing benefited more from globalization. So we see we've got a cartoon that we have. We've got the third world is written on the is attached to the leg, and then in terms of that, we can respond to the question. So the correct response is developed. So I discussed two reasons why many people are opposing globalization. So basically, we are looking at the negatives of globalization. Local producers lose money because people buying outside the country. So it means there's no promotion of the local producers. So we have got also people lose jobs since we're going to see the demand of local products going down, and as people are now buying from outside the country. So obviously the firms, the local firms will struggle in terms of revenue collection. In that sense, to lay off some of the workers. We've got expensive products and also cheap quality products as our responses. So go to the next part, which is now in 1.5.4. In a paragraph or approximately 8 lines, comment on the social and economic impacts of globalization on developing countries. So this is the positive impact and economic impacts. So this is what we have in terms of that.